Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Awakening Hour podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Ketchum, and I am so excited for you to dive into this very special, this very healing, this very powerful conversation that I had with Chelsey Wildfire. Chelsey is a women's empowerment coach, a soul guide, and a sacred space creator. She reminds women of their ability to break free of repeating patterns, leave toxic relationships, and embody their soul's highest desires. Through their inner child healing and self forgiveness, women get to feel safe in their body, to embrace the love within. And they shift from a victim mentality to a mentality of creator, a mentality of cycle breaker. And in this conversation, Chelsey dives into her experience of empowerment and embodiment of her truth. And this is just a really special conversation. And Chelsey is a brilliant guide leading this awakening process for her community and just such an inspiring person. So I hope you enjoy this very special episode with Chelsey Wildfire. Chelsey Wildfire, I am so grateful to have you on the show today. This is going to be such a powerful conversation. I can feel it in my bones already. And I wanted to really first start off with diving into just a little background around the name Chelsey Wildfire, because even just speaking that name, it brings this transmission to my body of empowerment, and I'm getting truth bumps on my back and shoulders. It brings you into your core and your knowing, and it feels powerful. And like, I just get this visual of this phoenix rising when I hear that name. And I'm just curious to know more about the woman behind this name and how she remembered who she was and stepped into that role as teacher and guide.
Yes, thank you. I love this because not everybody asks me that question. And I always say that Wildfire is my medicine name. Chelsey Wildfire is who I fully am when I allow myself to show up as a medicine carrier, as the wild woman I am, as the person that's going to push you a little bit and make you really look at your own like bull crap and have to face some of your shadow work, but
Yeah.
also own up to your power and your strength. So I in 2018 kind of began my business and like opening up to do the spiritual work, following my purpose more. And the wildfire came to me. I was at a women's retreat in Sedona or somewhere in the desert. And so I don't know why I'm like, wildfire out there is not good. But right.
Love it. It's great.
But getting to embrace my truth and the wildness and the essence of who I am while inspiring others to do it is why I showed up and decided to be this big bright light because yeah, Chelsey Wildfire better show up. I don't get a half-ass anything. I don't get to hide. I don't someone sees me or sees my work or what I do, they know who it is. And I think that's also really important of like having your own brand, but your mission. My mission is to empower women to remember their divinity, to find safety in their body, to feel able to express themselves and stand up for themselves and be that wild woman that you want to be, to wear the color red and be sensual and lovey and flowy for yourself, not for somebody else. That is a condition or construct that society has kind of showed us as women. And I want us to be empowered within our own body and not shamed for it.
Yes, I love this. And I just have to say, as you were speaking your truth about your calling and the knowing of what it is that you were meant to do on this planet, my entire body just like resonated with that in truth of, the truth bumps. I'm just like, I'm like, holy moly, it is so refreshing to see younger women. I think we're young. I don't know how old you are. I'm 38, but I'm young. It's beautiful to see younger, powerful, embodied women leading this awakening and bringing this new earth to this planet. And, as a teacher myself, it feels at times like, a big responsibility. And I've really dove into the word integrity as kind of like, what is integrity to me as a teacher, as a guide, as somebody that people look up to and seek guidance from? And I'm curious, Chelsey, because I feel it. I feel your truth. How do you stay in integrity in this calling? Because it's a big one.
Oh, I love that you asked that because I just went on a rant yesterday around the influencer era that we live in and the ego and how many people are doing this new age spiritual healing stuff for clout and to look cool and to act and do these cool poses on top of a mountain, like heart centered in the body.
Yeah.
And I am only 33. I started doing this when I was like 27 or 28. So,
Mhm.
and I've been working with people older than me, younger than me, like all ages.
Mhm.
And yeah, there are women that look at me like, oh, how could you be doing this? But they're in their wounded feminine. If they're judging me in that, that means they're still in the wounded feminine. If they want to come to my events to come do a session with me, I will hold them and show them that I'm in the heart, I'm safe, like I'm not in competition, I'm not shaming anybody, I'm not judging them for where they're at in life. But I am really grateful that I did find my medicine path really early. I did figure out, honestly, at 13, I went through so much hard stuff and learned that no, other people aren't going to love me. They're going to push me and judge me and tell me I don't deserve to live. I'm going to choose to love myself. I'm going to choose to take care of me. And
Yeah.
all the horrible things I went through when I was younger, I realized I was helping other people with that as I grew.
Mm.
So, I didn't have it easy. I learned that I was here for a reason really young. And then through that, to stay humble. I will admit that I'm a fiery Aries and I'm very confident in myself and who I am. And I'm
Very.
pretty sassy sometimes. And people are like, dang, Chelsey,
I
stay
wanted to
humble.
know. I wanted to know your sign, your top three.
Yes. So I'm Aries, Virgo, and Gemini. And over my whole chart, I'm actually
Mm.
really balanced with all the elements, and I need all of the elements in my life in general.
Mhm.
But I definitely bring out that fire and like use that for fun and play because I enjoy that energy.
Ah.
But I have worked so hard to
Mm.
connect to the earth, to my body, to stay grounded so that it'll burn it down because
Yeah.
I understand my wild side. I
And
understand the anger and the fire because I'm so passionate. I care a lot and that can be dangerous too. So I'm aware of the wildfire, okay?
no, I love it. And that's your soul's path too. That's how you've become such a wonderful guide, is like we work through these things
Yeah.
to
And
guide.
we have, yes, and we have to accept that uh, our paths, there's going to be bumps, but we have to move through our own shame, find self forgiveness, and own up to who we are. So I love also rewind because my brain trying to remember all the things I want to say, the age thing. So yesterday, this is divine alignment. It's funny because yesterday I went and received a healing session from somebody who I went to one of her events and I was like, wow, her space is so beautiful. She's been doing this for years. Like, I was like, I could learn so much from her. Like, this could be so cool. And then I did a session and I was like, well, that was kind of boring. like I was
Yeah.
like, wait,
Yeah.
what? I'm not okay. I'm gonna toot my own horn that I do some really cool things. And
Well,
instead of thinking I'm not good enough, I need to remember that I am amazing and I am coming from the heart and I'm doing a lot.
and the teacher is within. And healers, we all can heal. We all have these psychic intuitive abilities. and they're rapidly waking up and activating right now. I see it happening all over with my clients, community, and it's beautiful. But I've had that same exact, Chelsey, same exact epiphany in my journey of being like, wait a minute, I already knew that, or I could have found that answer within myself. That is beautiful. I love that, and it just holds such like resounding truth, and it just shows like the integrity too of you knowing who you are. And I think that's what makes you such a grounded and embodied guide for people is that, sometimes in confusion, it can create distrust, but you create such a clarity of who you are. And I think that really allows people to trust you. And I feel that. And it's beautiful. So, as you've navigated your path, like I said, Chelsey, I have so many questions for you, but this is the one that's like, this is gonna be a spicy, kind of all over conversation. Um, I'm curious, on your spiritual path, like connecting to those different healers, guides, mentors, how have you discerned, what is truth versus illusion in that exploration of seeking guides or even influencers on YouTube, people that we attach our energy to and seek guidance from? How do you discern what feels truthful to you?
You are knowing all the right questions because I love talking about this. And I just also talked about this how there's so many people that are like bright and shiny. Ooh, look over here, love and light and rainbows. But back here, if you actually close your eyes and feel and pay attention, there's some. There's some icky energy. There's something dark. We are in a mass awakening where the world is shifting and everybody's waking up to all these systems and these people and the energy at play that there is light and dark. There is more of the shadow aspects. There is more of the harder things, but also there are people with dirty intentions. And so my biggest thing that I've been telling people is yes, there are a lot of healers and medicine carriers and like amazing people out there. And sometimes people with a bunch of followers might be playing with a little bit of that darker side to get that. So I would be aware. I'm not saying everybody, but I would just be aware of some of the people that put on a show.
Mhm.
Is it all putting on a show and trying to look and be a certain way, or are you feeling it in their depth? Are you feeling the safety that they can hold you through your pain and your trauma? Because we have all gone through a lot, we carry a lot, and when we go into sacred containers and retreats and healing sessions with people, we are trusting them with our body, with our energy, with
Yeah.
our soul.
Mhm.
And if they are doing any kind of sketchy or darker or doing it for the wrong reasons, you will feel it in your body. So
Yes.
do not gaslight yourself. Do not question yourself. If you are doing a session or you're somewhere and you feel off, you feel that anxious feeling, you feel like a weird, like, I feel it in the back of my neck and shoulders where I'm like, oh, ick,
Yes,
oh, what is
scratchy,
that?
right? Like a
Yeah. And it's like,
scratchy.
yeah. And it's like, oh, I don't like that. What is this feeling? Trust that, get out and clear and ask somebody for some help to get that off your back. There is entities and energies. There are things out there that we need to be aware and protect ourselves for. And I think people get afraid to maybe hurt somebody else or well afraid to even trust themselves if there's another person who's been doing it longer is labeled a healer.
Mm.
So my biggest thing, which I have a story about that if we want to go into that, because that was a big lesson for me in this
Mhm.
last year. But we have to trust in ourselves. We have to learn our body, our energy, connect to our heart and our wombs so that we know what is feels good and is okay within ourselves and
Yes.
not what somebody else is trying to tell us or distract us with a puppet. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. You are just nailing so many things that just like I'm like, yes, that I see that, I feel that. I connect with that. And it's been an interesting thing because you're right, when you do choose to work with somebody, and I've personally been burned in the past of entrusting myself to healers, shamans, people that have those titles. And, again, the age, they're more established, at least in my eyes. And I've had situations where there was not the truest intentions at heart for my greatest good in those containers. And so I love that, that is something that is on your radar and awareness, and possibly something you've experienced, because it was a lesson that, for me, everything's a mirror. And so kind of reflecting back, like, what is my integrity as a space holder and a healer? And how do I act out of that integrity in the work that I do? Because that is one thing, as a guide, as a teacher, as a leader, at times, you can be placed on a pedestal of expectation, sometimes subconsciously around, maybe your clients, your students. Is that something that you've kind of seen or recognized? And if so, how do you kind of ground that? Because I think that's that slippery slope in the work that we do as spiritual leaders. So, has there been any situation like that that
Oh, yeah, I have a community and I also have a right to do good for them. There has been a few instances where somebody has came into my community and they has shown that they aren't being authentic, they aren't opening up, they're stuck in their ego and they're trying to take and take and they're not safe. That's the biggest thing is I create safe, sacred communities and containers so that we can go through a journey of healing together. And if somebody in that messes it up, I, as the leader, as the person holding the space, have to go to that person. I have to have the hard conversations. I have to hold them accountable. I have to tell them what they said, what they did, and how it made people feel. Like it's you are put on a pedestal and you have to do your work to make sure you're doing things in the most helpful way. And
Mhm.
I think one other thing while you're talking to about leaders and healers is you need to pay attention to two big things with them. One, their ego. Do they know everything? Is it all about them? Is it their way or the highway?
Mhm.
If that's it, I would run. That's the people that aren't willing to open up to be able to learn. And then the second thing is, are they doing their own inner work? Are they going to other people? Like I do shamanic work. I have shamans I go to be like, hey, can you check on me? I like just like, am I good?
Mhm.
I gotta cover my energy too.
It's spiritual hygiene. It's
Yes.
it's good spiritual hygiene for sure.
Yeah. And if
And
they're not taking care of themselves, it's because their ego is telling them they're bigger and better than anything. So that's where you have to be careful, and that's where it's not safe.
right. And what I've learned more recently within the last 2 years is, like, in that kind of complex dynamic, accountability is like key. People holding themselves accountable to their core values, to their integrity, their definition of what that is and what that means to them. And, I've also worked with many different guides, mentors throughout my journey. And I had a spiritual teacher once tell me that she was like, I would never wish this career on anyone. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's like a kind of a pessimistic approach. But she was like, it is, you have to continue your own personal development and growth and not let your ego stand in the way. So it is a path of truly being committed to your healing first and foremost, so that you can connect to truth rather than the illusion of the ego. So I'm loving this conversation, and I'm curious, like, how are some ways that you kind of work with, like, your clients or your students to identify when they're disconnected from embodiment or their core or their heart center, like, kind of teetering away from that embodiment. What are some signs or symptoms of that?
First and foremost, the most important is if you have gone through some sort of trauma, sexual abuse. It could be really like big, intense trauma or even small things. Our soul kind of disassociates. Our inner child, our energy field will break parts, will have soul fragments, but pieces of us will be taken from others or we give it away in relationship. Are you becoming codependent? Are you becoming the other person? Are you doing everything for them? Are you even connected to your body? Are you staying so busy that you don't have time to slow down and listen to your body, feel your emotions, or process those? Those are huge. And I guarantee 90% of the population has done that, gone through that, or does that. I have plenty, a lot. There's so many times where I have somebody on my table doing a healing session with me, and
Mm.
I can literally see their inner child, their younger self sitting on the outside of them, waiting to come home. When am I safe enough to come back to my body? You know, if you didn't feel safe growing up, if you have childhood trauma, your soul and your energy is probably outside of you still
Mm.
until you have done the work to love on, connect to, listen to, honor your inner child, and do any somatic work and feminine embodiment of being able to liberate frozen tension in the body. You're not going to even know what it's like to be in your body. I'll admit right now, I have a toddler that loves to yell at me right now. She is so overwhelming. And even in those moments, it's like my energy is like, okay, bye. I'm going over here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm safe. I'm here. It's okay.
Yeah, they're our biggest teachers for sure. I think, yeah, the inner child healing, the inner just like connecting to your inner child is such a just nurturing part of this healing process. And I'll even ask her, like, when I get triggered or things come up in a situation, like, how can I support you? Having that connection with being that nurturing motherly figure, that we need or needed when we were younger. And, in the work that I do, I find it all kind of stems from that place of our upbringing in those formative years where we just absorb and interpret the world through our lens. And it's a beautiful thing, but it can be challenging to kind of unpack that. And I feel some of the bravest people are the ones that can do that inner work and face that inner work. And you've really attested to that as something that you like incorporate into your own healing. What are some, modalities or techniques that you think are really important for people right now in this great awakening?
Slow down. As easy as that is, slow the heck down. I think self-care practices or like either morning routine or a bedtime routine for yourself, just to listen, like one hand on the heart, one on the lower womb, the abdomen space, and just really kept connecting to yourself to ask like, hey, how are you doing? What is something I have to process from the day? Let yourself feel the feelings, process what's been going on, not run from it. We are busy running all the time and numbing. So slow down, let yourself feel some of the stuff. Journaling can help. You can write a letter to your inner child or younger self. You can do inner child meditations. I have one of those on my YouTube channel too. I think I also want to mention you were talking about, what we see when we grow up. We model what we see.
Mm,
So if you grew up in chaos, I seen toxic relationships and unhealthy patterns with love and how not to depend on men and just unhealthy masculine figures.
mhm,
And I repeated that for so many years of my life until I had to be accountable and look at me. Okay, why am I repeating this same cycle? So it's as simple as take a step back, sit down, look at your life. Are you self abandoning yourself? Are you self sabotaging when something gets good? Are
Mhm.
you doing something that you watched your mom do for years? Are you having the same emotional outbursts as your father did? Or
Mhm.
what are you doing that is repeating the exact same things you seen growing up?
Mhm.
And then how can you change that? How can you be the one to break that cycle? And
Yeah.
it's like we are the ones, the generation that is finally doing that and looking at healing and talking about mental health and being able and willing to show up and do that work. And
Mhm.
we're not meant to do it alone. Go
Mhm.
to therapy, find a coach or a spiritual mentor. And it takes lasting effort too. You can do little things here and there, but you do have to do it for a while. It's not just a one and done thing. You have to continue
Yeah.
to do that effort.
Definitely. It's a I kind of see it as a devotion and a commitment to oneself, continuing to kind of peel back the layers of that onion, that healing onion. Because, yeah, I just, we are here to break the cycle. And, I've had similar experience as well with codependency and, men in my life giving my power away, kind of being that doormat. And, that was part of my journey and, what I had seen growing up, quite honestly. And so it was a huge reclamation of my power to heal from that and, continue to make it a priority to nurture that healing. But it's kind of like, the lessons have always been there. I see them, I recognize them. Awareness, there's the awareness around it, so that shines light on it. But it's part of this experience, and I feel so just grateful to have kind of this, as do you, this connection to the divine and, these other worlds and experiences, and just maybe a more unconventional but also ancient way of interpreting this experience. So I kind of want to go back to a little bit of, because I'm like thinking about like the dynamics of, shadow work and, in our industry, our career, there's, you hear kind of the buzzwords of like light worker, shadow worker. I'm just curious, like, what are your interpretations on some of those, that like spiritual language that, is created around this movement of spirituality, and maybe even those, that dynamic of light and dark and how they work together in this reality here.
Yeah, without the light, there's no dark, and vice versa. There's always going to be both, and it's being able to navigate both. Wildfire and the light and the energy I have is to help people navigate through the dark, the heavier, the deeper stuff.
Mhm.
I believe. So think, I used to think that I was just working in the light, which I work with light, but I have learned, I would say it's kind of a frequency, but also different layers and levels. So shamanic journeying, there's, the middle world, the upper world, the lower world. I would say shadow work is going down into the depths of that lower world and going into the subconscious
Mhm.
and healing, to the DNA through the ancestors, really embodiment. And we are humans. We chose this experience. We chose to come here to learn and learn through our body and the human experience. So that's why we're here. The light work is more like higher frequencies up in other dimensions, energy, like light, like way up higher, if that makes sense. That's how I see it and feel it, kind of. And you need both. You have to do both.
Mhm.
And if they're only saying they're up here and only doing light work, I would question that and look at them and kind of watch them and feel of like, okay, so do you have some weird dark energy hanging out back here? Like
Mhm.
you have to do the hard stuff to have the good stuff too. It's that balance.
Right. Where's the human in that? We're all human. And that is so beautifully stated because, that is a thing in this realm of kind of like the buzzword is spiritual bypassing of living in that land, which is beautiful and powerful and expansive, but also like neglecting the lessons and the reason why we're here to transmute, which is this is you, is your maybe I don't know if you use those words, transmute, you're
Yeah.
alchemizing that energy. So I think that that's like the biggest task that you could have on this planet is, that's why we're here, right? To do that dirty work to bring peace upon the planet. And
Yeah, and that's our duty right now as we are seeing all the separation and the pain and the stuff that is going on in the world right now and in our country. It is our duty to do our inner work so that we can show up and be a whole light being, but because you have faced what you're angry about in your own stuff, that when other people push you, say things, have their opinions, that you can stay anchored in your body and in your light and be able to reflect love back and not fear or anger. It's our duty to do our inner work. And I love that you brought up alchemy because I say I'm a shadow alchemist. Like we go into the depths, the darks, the shadows, and we transform it and transmute it and yes, alchemize it. So I love how beautifully today is weaved together and how you are asking all
so
the right
good.
questions. This has been really cool.
No, it's easy. It's really, I feel like you're just a kindred spirit and it's fun. And I knew it would be. Like I said, I have so many questions. And then, so the next part of the conversation is because this is kind of like your niche, I guess, would be like females, like women embodied people, or those who identify. And what are you seeing in this awakening regarding the divine feminine? And you could really go anywhere with this because this could be, but what are you sensing and recognizing with the shadow too? Like, what is, because sometimes there's a collective energy, right?
Right.
And what are you picking?
So everything is a pendulum swing. Do you get what I mean? So we were so far in and are so far into the masculine energy, some divine, mostly toxic. We got so far to one side that it started getting to the shadows of the masculine. Do you get what I'm saying there with the power and the greed and the go overproduce? You
Yeah.
know, we got too far to one side. We stopped asking the medicine women, the
Mhm.
women with intuition. We stopped doing the energy loving receiving part of it. We're so far on one side that right now with this shift to the feminine, instead of finding a balance, we're trying to go all the way to the complete opposite and in anger. It's because we're hurt, we're pissed off. The toxic anger side for the shadow and the manipulation and stuff from the feminine side is coming out because we're pissed off and we're like, no, this isn't okay. We're sick of being walked over. We're like, there's so much pain
Mhm.
that we haven't been able to find that equilibrium.
Yep.
So I feel right now that we're in that turmoil to try to find the middle ground, but the two sides are so different and angry at each other and upset that they're not willing to come together like they're supposed to be. So
Mhm.
the more of us that do our individual healing work with the masculine and feminine, because we all have that. We all have both energies within us. We both need them for different times. I love being in my feminine right now and being soft and playful and dancing and receiving. Yes, I'm a magnet. Give it to me. Everything is coming to me. Thank you. Like I will receive.
Love it.
And I run my own business. I have a toddler. I work part-time. I have to have masculine
That
schedules,
structure.
get stuff done, like
Yeah.
energy too. So I love being able to go back and forth between both. I've also had to heal a lot of my wounds with both energies and both genders and roles and all of that, just to be able to do that, to
Mhm.
appreciate both sides, to embody both sides. And as we all do that, I think that'll help that equilibrium of the collective come together. That'll help us find that balance with our own inner work. We get caught up in pointing fingers and blaming and saying what's wrong with everybody else.
Mhm.
So my invitation is to look at yourself and see where you're doing that.
Definitely. I love how beautifully that was stated because, like, that's energetically kind of, my understanding of what's been going on. And it's, all meant for our evolution. And I find it like the buzzword that I would attach to it that is the patriarchy, but it doesn't just live in the men. It also is embedded really deeply in women. And I see that with the control and the competition and tearing women down. And, it's like I love girls, and they're so valuable. And I feel that you've like cultivated a really healthy and empowering environment for women to kind of flourish and explore that balance of the divine masculine and feminine. Have you, that again is really heavy work too. Have you had like any instances that were notable that kind of shaped you and maybe changed how you see things, or that really challenged you maybe even as a teacher?
Oh, I've had many. I oh, I don't even know where to begin. I have had a lot of wake up calls on my own personal journey. I've
Mhm.
had wake up calls within my communities and who I'm inviting in, who I'm allowing in. I've learned a really hard lesson of getting caught up in what feels good and looks good, and somebody that tells you all the cool things, and then you slow down and you feel and see there's something off with their energy.
Mm.
So I would say I am I want so badly for us to belong and have a community and have this sisterhood that sometimes I just grab someone and pull them under my wing and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Yay. And I have learned that I need to pause, slow down, close my eyes and feel and see too. Like the things I tell other people to do, sometimes I forget to do. And then I'm like, oh man, what did I just
I,
do? And then I have to pay the repercussions for that. I have to have the hard conversations. I have to do the hard work to say, hey, we have to take a step back. I can't have you in the community right now. There's, and ask them the questions. And then when they lie straight to my face, cool, bye. Because I'm not about cancel culture. I want to give the
yeah.
opportunity to people to learn, grow, and do better. Like we are human. We mess up. I'm not perfect.
Hmm.
I've done some things in my past. Like I admit that I'm vulnerable. I've
Yep.
had to admit some of the things I've gone through.
Same.
And if I sit you down and have a real right, if I have a heart to heart with you and you lie to my face, bye. I don't have time for it. I do not have, I'm not going to have people in my space who aren't willing to say, yeah, you know what? Actually, I did do that and I'm sorry. And how can I do better? Because I have to do that. I do that in my relationship right now. I do that in my community. I have to ask them, what can I do better? Like I'm always open to learning and growing. And that's how you know when you find an actual healthy, good earth leader and somebody who is willing to do the work and be and apologize when they messed up. But we also have to give people the opportunity to do better and change through actions. And if they don't, that's where we can be done with them, because you have to have boundaries. You don't want to get walked over.
Right.
It's an intricate dance to figure out.
Yeah, I totally understand of navigating those boundaries with the students, clients, and holding yourself to that. place of accountability. And I agree with you, like regarding cancel culture. I feel like I've been given a lot of chances to redeem myself. And I would never wish that on someone who is truly willing and open to do better. Like that is a choice. And but yes, you've spoken it so brilliantly, and I just, again, could chat all day long. But I wanted to like dive a little bit more into like your offerings, like the work that you do. How can people work with you and get acquainted with you as a teacher?
Thank you for asking. We talked a lot about it, the breaking the cycles. So I do an online course called Breaking the Cycles. That is literally a soul
Cool.
line, like what spirit told me I was here to do. I'm like, oh, that sounds really hard. Are you sure? So I do a 3 month journey all online where we do feminine embodiment coaching calls. So these calls are where I guide women into their body. We close our eyes. I walk them through. We help create a relationship with their body. And I just ask questions that they find the answers to. So I'm not just like a coach talking down to you, telling you what to do,
Yeah.
where I create the space in the container. I hold you. I help you cry and let go of the heaviness that you're carrying and liberate the frozen tension and trauma in your body. And then find your own truth, your power. I don't create a codependent relationship. I want to empower you and light you up to send you into the world to do this more. I'm spreading the wildfire, or
Yep.
the wildfire is going out there to teach women how to face their inner child healing. We go into like the father wound, the mother wound, what it's like to hold boundaries. We do a self-forgiveness ceremony, and ritual is a big part of bringing sacredness back to life, is a big part of what I do. So right now I'm doing the offering of one-to-one coaching through Break the Cycles. I have my women's retreats. I host 3 a year. 2 are already sold out this year. My next one's a shadow working. Yeah, I'm like, let's
I
go.
see those online all the time, and I'm like, I gotta get to one of those. I love retreat.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many retreats. And if they don't go to mine, go to some. There's so many retreats.
Go on
I
retreat.
will Yeah, and I try to keep mine really affordable. I know the economy we live in. I understand. I'm always down for like scholarships, discounts, whatever. If someone's like, "Hey, I really want to work with you. How can we make this work?" I'm always open to that. I also do a Reclaim the Fire group program. You mentioned earlier too about like we all have our own innate abilities to be the healer and to help others. And so I do a group program once a year called Reclaim the Fire around empowering women to find what their medicine is, do ceremony and ritual to connect to their spirit team and the angels and guides to learn like what am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose and how can I show up to help others? So those are kind of the main things I like to do. It's my passion, it's what I'm here for, and it's really fulfilling. And I know that everybody is gonna show up and love it and really feel the lifelong memories, power around it, and how just amazing it really is.
Yeah. And it's beautiful because it feels like it's a compilation of your life's work and also like a download from spirit is you're really tapped into trusting your guidance in this process and surrendering and opening, which is so important.
Yeah, I have to. I'm not doing this alone at all. My website is chelseywildfire.com, and something that we were talking to at the beginning of this was about showing up as I am fully. So, if I don't know if you ever looked at my website, but my mom was even like, you should maybe lighten it up a little bit because it is dark. There's fire. It is like people
Ooh.
call it witchy. I don't necessarily claim many labels, but what I do is pretty witchy, I will admit. But I honor the earth, the animals. Like I really care about fairies. I work a lot with those
Oh, I
too, but I
love
really care. Yes. I really show up as my bold, brightest self. I am not everybody's cup of tea, and I am okay with that. If I'm too much for you, that's okay. If you look at my website and you're like, yes, let's go. Okay, let's play, let's go. And if not, that's okay. I love you. I hope you find somebody that is your cup of tea. And I just want to say that, there are a lot of different medicine carriers and people and teachers out there. Find more than one so that you're not just like sucked into one, that you have
Yeah.
multiple walks to learn from
Yeah.
and try different things. Open up, experience the world.
I love that. That's beautiful. Um, I feel like I wanted to ask, and you kind of like had a beautiful summary just then too, but I'm curious, like, what is one thing that you would say in closing here to anyone who might be going through a challenging time, maybe like a dark night of the soul or, just another awakening? What is something that you would say to them at that time or at this time in their life?
I just said this to somebody yesterday. So, we are all going through a lot right now. So, if you are going through a really heavy time, a dark night of soul, going through a lot of pain, if you feel like your whole world is kind of crashing and burning around you, it's your wake up call. It's spirit source, it's your soul saying what you're doing is not working. Do
Mm,
something different. Get out of the norm. Stop what you're doing. Slow down, change it up.
mm,
Try something different. Get out into the nature and into the earth. Slow down, go lay on the grass, go on a waterfall, hike, get into nature and just clear your energy and your mind first. And then create practices of listening to your heart and your body. So when you're going out in nature, or even if you're at home, place a hand on the heart, another hand on the lower abdomen, your womb space, close your eyes.
mm,
Start to listen inside. Start to listen to your heart, to your intuition, and not what social media is telling you, not what the media is telling you at all. Do not watch the news. Get out of that. Do not listen to all these outside sources. Start connecting to the ground, to your spirit team, your angels, and your guides, and opening up to find your path and the way you're going.
mm.
You have to find your truth.
Yes, I love that. Beautiful and such wise words. Well, Chelsey, thank you for being a guest on the Awakening Hour. It was just such a pleasure. I can't wait to connect with you again in the future. And for those of you listening, check out Chelsea's website, her Facebook, Instagram. She always is coming through with some really potent content. So definitely follow her. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to the Awakening Hour podcast. I would love that. And until we meet again, my friends, just sending so much love. Mwah. Bye.